All right, I want to bring in Senator Hollie Hughes, who is joining us from Canberra tonight. Hollie, I think you are self-isolating tonight, awaiting COVID test or results to come through at the very least. Is this in part due to the fact that the federal government is actually failing on the rollout?
No, absolutely not. And if you look at what's happening in Sydney, Gladys has consistently demonstrated the gold standard of COVID management. She has absolutely acted with logic rather than panic at every opportunity. And I think we're certainly seeing that that's the way she's approaching this again. Gladys and her government has a very good understanding that we need to keep the economy open. We need to keep people's lives as solid as we can. If we look at the mental health issues that are now impacting some of Victorians over these rolling lockdowns, but the businesses that are being forced to close and the long-term economic impacts, Gladys is taking a really sensible approach to it. But I will let you know, Hamish, I've already got my negative test result, so I could have actually been there with you.
Well, we're very happy to hear that result. But Gladys Berejiklian is pointing out that actually this would be different if there was more access to vaccines. That is your government's responsibility, isn't it?
The vaccine rollout is happening, you know, in line with all the health advice that was given. And if we look at vaccine rollouts that have occurred across the world, they've occurred quite slowly at the beginning and then exponentially increased. And we saw yesterday 140,000 Australians received a vaccine. We've seen in the last couple of weeks the time frame between each million people, number of people that are receiving a dose of vaccine, go to 9 days between each million. So by today, we should have actually hit 7 million people. But there is an awful lot of misinformation being given. So we hear things about 3% of the population. Well, that's just rubbish because, I mean, acknowledging what Mary Louise, I think, said earlier, we're not doing under 16s and we're only doing 50 to 70s in some states and only some. But hang on,
so just on misinformation, I mean, the Prime Minister has been asked to clarify exactly what proportion of the population has had both doses of the vaccine and won't give it. All we're being given is the total number of vaccines that have been administered. Isn't the government actually in part responsible for that confusion?
Yeah, no, see, this is part of the misinformation, Hamish, and it's really important that Australians get clear and correct factual information. Both Professor Murphy and Professor Kelly have been very, very clear, and quite frankly, I'd prefer to take their advice. They have been very clear that one dose of the vaccine will provide 80% protection. Yes, we want everyone to get their second dose. There's a 3-month lag between the first dose and the second dose of AZ. So, of course, there's going to be a lag for that second dose. But we are encouraging people to get that.
Can you tell us what proportion of the population's had both doses?
I don't know, because you know why? We don't have mandatory reporting either. We don't have people's health records out and available. We do have on everyone's MyGov what vaccines you've had, but as I haven't actually checked mine since I had my first Pfizer a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if that's there, but we don't have the recording. And quite frankly, I actually would love to see the recording. I'm supposed to go to Queensland on Sunday and can't go, and I'll have had my second Pfizer shot. It is absolutely insanity, these lockdowns, killing business, killing tourism, affecting the economy long term with knee-jerk reactions with people that have received the vaccine.